Yashar, Jasher, chapter 27. And at that time, after the death of Abraham, ʕsaw frequently went in the field to hunt, and Nimroḍ, sovereign of Babel, the same was Amraphel, also frequently went with his mighty men to hunt in the field, and to walk about with his men in the cool of the day. And Nimroḍ was observing ʕsaw all the days, for a jealousy was formed in the heart of Nimroḍ against ʕsaw all the days. And on a certain day ʕsaw went in the field to hunt, and he found Nimroḍ walking in the wilderness with his 2 men. And all his mighty men and his people were with him in the wilderness, but they turned back at a distance from him, and they went from him in different directions to hunt. And ʕsaw concealed himself from Nimroḍ, and he lay in wait for him in the wilderness. And Nimroḍ and his men that were with him did not know him, and Nimroḍ and his men frequently walked about in the field at the cool of the day, and to know where his men were hunting in the field. And Nimroḍ and 2 of his men that were with him came to the place where they were, when ʕsaw leaped suddenly from his ambush, and drew his sword, and hastened and ran to Nimroḍ, and cut off his head. And ʕsaw fought a desperate fight against the 2 men that were with Nimroḍ, and when they called out to him, ʕsaw turned to them, and smote them to death with his sword. And all the mighty men of Nimroḍ who had left him to go to the wilderness heard the cry at a distance, and they knew the voices of those 2 men, and they ran to know the cause of it, whereupon they found their sovereign and the 2 men that were with him lying dead in the wilderness. And when ʕsaw saw the mighty men of Nimroḍ coming at a distance, he fled and thereby escaped. And ʕsaw took the valuable garments of Nimroḍ, which Nimroḍ's father had bequeathed to Nimroḍ, and with which Nimroḍ prevailed over the whole land, and he ran and concealed them in his house. And ʕsaw took those garments and ran into the city because of Nimroḍ's men. And he came to his father's house wearied and exhausted from the fight, and he was ready to die through grief when he approached his brother Yaakov and sat before him. And he said to his brother Yaakov, "Look, I shall die this day, and why then do I want the birthright?" And Yaakov acted wisely with ʕsaw in this matter, and ʕsaw sold his birthright to Yaakov, for it was so brought about by Yehova. And ʕsaw's portion in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham had bought from the children of Heth for the possession of a burial ground, ʕsaw also sold to Yaakov, and Yaakov bought all this from his brother ʕsaw for value given. And Yaakov wrote the whole of this in a book, and he witnessed the same with witnesses, and he sealed it, and the book remained in the hands of Yaakov. And when Nimroḍ son of Cush died, his men lifted him up and brought him with lamenting, and buried him in his city. And all the days that Nimroḍ lived were 215 years, and he died. And the days that Nimroḍ reigned over the people of the land were 185 years. And Nimroḍ died by the sword of ʕsaw in shame and contempt, and the seed of Abraham caused his death, as he had seen in his dream. And at the death of Nimroḍ his reign became divided into many divisions, and all those parts that Nimroḍ reigned over were restored to the respective sovereigns of the land, who recovered them after the death of Nimroḍ. And all the people of the house of Nimroḍ were enslaved for a long time to all the other sovereigns of the land. Yashar, Jasher, chapter 28. And in those days after the death of Abraham, in that year Yehua brought a severe scarcity of food in the land. And while the scarcity of food was raging in the land of Canaan, Yishak rose up to go down to Mitzrayim because of the scarcity of food, as his father Abraham had done. And Yehua appeared that night to Yishak, and he said to him, "Do not go down to Mitzrayim, but rise and go to Gerar, to Avimelech, sovereign of the Palestites, and remain there till the scarcity of food ceases." And Yishak rose up and went to Gerar as Yehua commanded him, and he remained there a full year. And when Yishak came to Gerar, the people of the land saw that Rivkah his wife was of good-looking appearance, and the people of Gerar asked Yishak concerning his wife, and he said, "She is my sister." For he was afraid to say she was his wife, lest the people of the land should slay him because of her. And the princes of Avimelech went and praised the woman to the sovereign, but he did not answer them, neither did he attend to their words. But he heard them say that Yitzhak declared her to be his sister, so the sovereign reserved this within himself. And when Yitzhak had remained 3 months in the land, Avimelech looked out of the window, and he looked, and see, Yitzhak was playing with Rivkah his wife, and Yitzhak dwelt in the outer house belonging to the sovereign, so that the house of Yitzhak was opposite the house of the sovereign. And the sovereign said to Yitzhak, "What is this you have done to us in saying of your wife, 'She is my sister'? How easily might one of the great men of the people have lain with her, and you would then have brought guilt upon us." And Yitzhak said to Avimelech, "Because I was afraid lest I die because of my wife, therefore I said, 'She is my sister.'" At that time Avimelech gave orders to all his princes and great men, and they took Yitzhak and Rivkah his wife and brought them before the sovereign. And the sovereign commanded that they should dress them in princely garments and make them ride through the streets of the city and proclaim before them throughout the land, saying, "This is the man and this is his wife. Whoever touches this man or his wife shall indeed die." And Yitzhak returned with his wife to the sovereign's house, and Yahweh was with Yitzhak, and he continued to become great and lacked nothing. And Yahweh caused Yitzhak to find favor in the sight of Avimelech and in the sight of all his subjects. And Avimelech acted well with Yitzhak, for Avimelech remembered the oath and the covenant that existed between his father and Abraham. And Avimelech said to Yitzhak, "See, the whole earth is before you. Dwell wherever it may seem good in your eyes until you shall return to your land." And Avimelech gave Yitzhak fields and vineyards and the best part of the land of Gerar to sow and reap and eat the fruits of the ground until the days of the scarcity of food had passed by. And Yitzhak sowed in that land and received 100-fold in the same year. And Yahweh berakah him. And the man became great, and he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and great supply of servants. And when the days of the scarcity of food had passed away, Yahweh appeared to Yitzhak and said to him, "Rise up, go out from this place, and return to your land, to the land of Canaan." And Yitzhak rose up and returned to Hebron, which is in the land of Canaan, he and all belonging to him, as Yahweh commanded him. And after this, Shelach, the son of Arpachshad, died in that year, which is the 18th year of the lives of Yaakov and Esau. And all the days that Shelach lived were 433 years, and he died. At that time Yitzhak sent his younger son Yaakov to the house of Shem and Eber, and he learned the Torot of Yahweh. And Yaakov remained in the house of Shem and Eber for 32 years. But Esau his brother did not go, for he was not willing to go, and he remained in his father's house in the land of Canaan. And Esau was continually hunting in the fields to bring home what he could get. So Esau did all the days. And Esau was a crafty and deceitful man, one who hunted after the hearts of men and persuaded them. And Esau was a mighty man of the field, and in the course of time went as usual to hunt, and he came as far as the field of Seir, the same is Edom. And he remained in the land of Seir, hunting in the field 1 year and 4 months. And Esau saw there in the land of Seir the daughter of a man of Canaan, and her name was Yehudith, the daughter of Berari, son of Epher, from the clans of Heth, son of Canaan. And Esau took her for a wife, and he came to her. Esau was 40 years old when he took her, and he brought her to Hebron, the land of his father's dwelling place, and he dwelt there. And it came to be in those days, in the 110th year of the life of Yitzhak, that is, in the 50th year of the life of Yaakov, in that year Shem, son of Noach, died. Shem was 600 years old at his death. And when Shem died, Yaakov returned to his father at Hebron, which is in the land of Canaan. And in the 56th year of the life of Yaakov, people came from Ḥaran, and Rivkah was told concerning her brother Laban, son of Bethuel. For the wife of Laban was barren in those days, and bore no children, and also all his female servants bore none to him. And Yahweh afterward remembered Adinah, the wife of Laban, and she conceived and bore twin daughters. And Laban called the names of his daughters, the name of the elder, Leah, and the name of the younger, Rachel. And those people came and told these matters to Rivkah, and Rivkah rejoiced greatly that Yahweh had visited her brother, and that he had gained children. Yashar, Jasher, chapter 29. And Yitzchak, son of Abraham, became old and advanced in days, and his eyes became heavy through age. They were dim and could not see. At that time Yitzchak called to Ěsaw his son, saying, "Please get your weapons, your quiver and your bow. Rise up and go out into the field and get me some venison, and make me a tasty dish and bring it to me, that I may eat, in order that I may berakah you before my death, as I have now become old and gray-haired." And Ěsaw did so, and he took his weapon and went out into the field to hunt for venison as usual, to bring his father as he had ordered him, so that he might berakah him. And Rivkah heard all the words that Yitzchak had spoken to Ěsaw, and she hastened and called her son Yaakov, saying, "Thus did your father speak to your brother Ěsaw, and thus did I hear. Now therefore hurry and do that which I shall tell you. Please rise up and go to the flock and bring me 2 fine kids of the goats, and I will get the tasty dish for your father, and you shall bring the tasty dish that he may eat before your brother has come from the hunt, in order that your father may berakah you." And Yaakov hurried and did as his mother had commanded him, and he made the tasty dish and brought it before his father, before Ěsaw had come from his hunt. And Yitzchak said to Yaakov, "Who are you, my son?" And he said, "I am your firstborn Ěsaw. I have done as you ordered me. Now therefore, please rise up and eat of my hunt, in order that your being may berakah me as you spoke unto me." And Yitzchak rose up, and he ate and drank, and his heart was comforted. And he berakah Yaakov, and Yaakov went away from his father. And as soon as Yitzchak had berakah Yaakov, and he had gone away from him, see, Ěsaw came from his hunt from the field, and he also made a tasty dish, and brought it to his father to eat of it, and to berakah him. And Yitzchak said to Ěsaw, "And who was he that has taken venison and brought it to me before you came, and whom I berakah?" And Ěsaw knew that his brother Yaakov had done this, and the wrath of Ěsaw was kindled against his brother Yaakov, that he had acted so toward him. And Ěsaw said, "Is he not rightly called Yaakov? For he has taken me by the heel twice. He took away my birthright, and now he has taken away my beraká." And Ěsaw wept greatly. And when Yitzchak heard the voice of his son Ěsaw weeping, Yitzchak said to Ěsaw, "What can I do, my son? Your brother came with deceit and took away your beraká." And Ěsaw hated his brother Yaakov because of the beraká that his father had given him, and his wrath was greatly roused against him. And Yaakov was very much afraid of his brother Ěsaw, and he rose up and fled to the house of Eber, son of Shem, and he concealed himself there because of his brother. And Yaakov was 63 years old when he went out from the land of Canaan, from Hebron, and Yaakov was concealed in the house of Eber 14 years because of his brother Ěsaw, and there he continued to learn the ways of Yahweh and his commandments. And when Ěsaw saw that Yaakov had fled and escaped from him, and that Yaakov had cunningly obtained the berakah, then Ěsaw grieved exceedingly, and he was also displeased at his father and mother. And he also rose up and took his wife, and went away from his father and mother to the land of Seir, and he dwelt there. And Ěsaw saw there a woman from among the daughters of Heth, whose name was Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and he took her for a wife in addition to his first wife. And Ěsaw called her name Adah, saying, "The beraká had in that time passed from him." And Ěsaw dwelt in the land of Seir 6 months without seeing his father and mother. And afterward Ěsaw took his wives and rose up and returned to the land of Canaan. And Ěsaw placed his 2 wives in his father's house in Hebron. And the wives of Ěsaw grieved and provoked Yitzchak and Rivkah with their works, for they did not walk in the ways of Yahweh, but served their father's mighty ones of wood and stone as their father had taught them. But they were more wicked than their father. And they went according to the evil desires of their hearts, and they slaughtered and burnt incense to the Baals. And Yitzchak and Rivkah became weary of them. And Rivkah said, "I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Yaakov takes a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these which are of the daughters of the land, what good then is life to me?" And in those days Adah the wife of Ěsaw conceived and bore him a son, and Ěsaw called the name of the son that was born unto him Eliphaz. And Ěsaw was 65 years old when she bore him. And Yishmael, son of Abraham, died in those days, in the 64th year of the life of Yaakov. And all the days that Yishmael lived were 137 years, and he died. And when Yitzchak heard that Yishmael was dead, he mourned for him, and Yitzchak lamented over him many days. And at the end of 14 years of Yaakov's dwelling in the house of Eber, Yaakov desired to see his father and mother, and Yaakov came to the house of his father and mother to Hebron. And Esau had in those days forgotten what Yaakov had done to him in having taken the beraká from him in those days. And when Esau saw Yaakov coming to his father and mother, he remembered what Yaakov had done to him, and he was greatly wroth against him and sought to slay him. And Yitzchak, son of Abraham, was old and advanced in days, and Esau said, Now my father's time is drawing near that he must die, and when he dies I will slay my brother Yaakov. And this was told to Rivkah, and she hastened and sent and called for Yaakov her son, and she said to him, Arise, go and flee to Ḥaran to my brother Lavan, and remain there for some time, until your brother's wrath be turned from you, and then you shall come back. And Yitzchak called to Yaakov and said to him, Do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan, for thus did our father Abraham command us according to the word of Yahweh, which he commanded him, saying, Unto your seed I will give this land. If your children keep my covenant that I have made with you, then I will also perform to your children that which I have spoken to you, and I will not forsake them. Now therefore, my son, listen to my voice to all that I shall command you, and refrain from taking a wife from among the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Ḥaran to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take for yourself a wife from there, from the daughters of Lavan, your mother's brother. Therefore take heed lest you should forget Yahweh your Elohim and all his ways in the land to which you go, and should join with the people of the land and pursue worthlessness and forsake Yahweh your Elohim. But when you come to the land, serve Yahweh there. Do not turn to the right or to the left from the way which I commanded you and which you learned. And may the Almighty Elohim grant you favor in the sight of the people of the earth, that you may take there a wife according to your choice, one who is good and upright in the ways of Yahweh. And may Elohim give to you and your seed the beraká of your father Abraham, and make you fruitful and multiply you, and may you become a multitude of people in the land where you go. And may Elohim cause you to return to this land, the land of your father's dwelling, with children and with great riches, with joy and with pleasure. And Yitzchak finished commanding Yaakov and a beraká on him, and he gave him many gifts, together with silver and gold, and he sent him away. And Yaakov listened to his father and mother. He kissed them and arose and went to Padan Aram. And Yaakov was 77 years old when he went out from the land of Canaan from Beersheba. And when Yaakov went away to go to Ḥaran, Esau called to his son Eliphaz and secretly spoke to him, saying, Now hurry, take your sword in your hand, and pursue Yaakov, and pass before him on the way, and lay in wait for him, and slay him with your sword on one of the mountains, and take all belonging to him, and come back. And Eliphaz, son of Esau, was an active man and expert with the bow, as his father had taught him, and he was a noted hunter in the field and a mighty man. And Eliphaz did as his father had commanded him, and Eliphaz was at that time 13 years old. And Eliphaz rose up and went and took 10 of his mother's brothers with him, and pursued Yaakov. And he closely followed Yaakov, and he lay in wait for him in the border of the land of Canaan, opposite to the city of Shechem. And Yaakov saw Eliphaz and his men pursuing him, and Yaakov stood still in the place in which he was going, in order to know what this was, for he did not know the matter. And Eliphaz drew his sword and went on advancing, he and his men, toward Yaakov. And Yaakov said to them, What is it to do with you that you have come here, and what does it mean that you pursue with your swords? And Eliphaz came near to Yaakov, and he answered and said to him, Thus did my father command me, and now therefore I will not deviate from the orders which my father gave me. And when Yaakov saw that Ěsaw had spoken to Eliphaz to employ force, Yaakov then approached and pleaded with Eliphaz and his men, saying to him, "See, all that I have, and which my father and mother gave to me, take for yourself and go from me, and do not slay me, and may this matter be accounted to you as righteousness." And Yahweh caused Yaakov to find favor in the sight of Eliphaz, son of Ěsaw, and his men, and they listened to the voice of Yaakov, and they did not put him to death. And Eliphaz and his men took all belonging to Yaakov, together with the silver and gold that he had brought with him from Beersheba. They left him nothing. And Eliphaz and his men went away from him and returned to Ěsaw to Beersheba, and they told him all that had occurred to them with Yaakov, and they gave him all that they had taken from Yaakov. And Ěsaw was wroth at Eliphaz his son and at his men that were with him, because they had not put Yaakov to death. And they answered and said to Ěsaw, "Because Yaakov pleaded with us in this matter not to slay him, our compassion was aroused toward him, and we took all belonging to him and brought it to you." And Ěsaw took all the silver and gold which Eliphaz had taken from Yaakov, and he put them aside in his house. At that time, when Ěsaw saw that Yitzchak had berakah Yaakov, and had commanded him, saying, "You shall not take a wife from among the daughters of Canaan," and that the daughters of Canaan were evil in the sight of Yitzchak and Rivkah, then he went out to the house of Ishmael his uncle, and in addition to his older wives, he took Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, the sister of Nebaioth, for a wife. Yashar, Jasher, chapter 30. And Yaakov went forth, continuing his way to Ḥaran, and he came as far as Mount Moriah, and he stayed there all night, near the city of Luz. And Yahweh appeared there to Yaakov on that night, and he said to him, "I am Yahweh, Elohim of Abraham and the Elohim of Yitzchak your father. The land upon which you lie I will give unto you and your seed. And see, I am with you, and will keep you wherever you go, and I will multiply your seed as the stars of the Shemayim, and I will cause all your enemies to fall before you, and when they shall fight against you, they shall not prevail over you, and I will bring you again to this land with joy, with children, and with great riches." And Yaakov awoke from his sleep, and he rejoiced greatly at the vision which he had seen, and he called the name of that place Bethel. And Yaakov rose up from that place greatly rejoicing, and when he walked, his feet felt light to him for joy. And he went from there to the land of the children of the east, and he returned to Ḥaran, and he sat by the shepherd's well. And there he found some men going from Ḥaran to feed their flocks, and Yaakov made inquiries of them, and they said, "We are from Ḥaran." And he said to them, "Do you know Lavan, son of Nahor?" And they said, "We know him, and look, his daughter Rachel is coming along to feed her father's flock." While he was still speaking with them, Rachel, the daughter of Lavan, came to feed her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. And when Yaakov saw Rachel, the daughter of Lavan, his mother's brother, he ran and kissed her and lifted up his voice and wept. And Yaakov told Rachel that he was the son of Rivkah, her father's sister. And Rachel ran and told her father, and Yaakov continued to cry because he had nothing with him to bring to the house of Lavan. And when Lavan heard that his sister's son Yaakov had come, he ran and kissed him and embraced him and brought him into the house and gave him bread, and he ate. And Yaakov related to Lavan what his brother Ěsaw had done to him, and what his son Eliphaz had done to him on the way. And Yaakov dwelt in Lavan's house for 1 month. And Yaakov ate and drank in the house of Lavan. And afterward Lavan said to Yaakov, "Tell me what your wages shall be, for how can you serve me for naught?" And Lavan had no sons but only daughters, and his other wives and female servants were still barren in those days. And these are the names of Lavan's daughters, which his wife Adinah had borne unto him. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was lovely of form and appearance, and Yaakov loved her. And Yaakov said to Lavan, "I will serve you 7 years for Rachel your younger daughter." And Lavan agreed to this, and Yaakov served Lavan 7 years for his daughter Rachel. And in the 2nd year of Yaakov's dwelling in Ḥaran, that is in the 79th year of the life of Yaakov, in that year Eber, son of Shem, died. He was 464 years old at his death. And when Yaakov heard that Eber was dead, he grieved exceedingly, and he lamented and mourned over him many days. And in the 3rd year of Yaakov's dwelling in Ḥaran, Basemath, the daughter of Yishmael, the wife of Esau, bore unto him a son, and Esau called his name Reuel. And in the 4th year of Yaakov's dwelling in the house of Laban, Yahweh visited Laban and remembered him because of Yaakov, and sons were born unto him. And his firstborn was Beor, his second was Eliv, and the third was Choresh. And Yahweh gave Laban riches and honor, sons and daughters, and the man increased greatly because of Yaakov. And in those days Yaakov served Laban in all manner of work in the house and in the field, and the beraká of Yahweh was on all that belonged to Laban in the house and in the field. And in the 5th year Yehudith died, the daughter of Beri, the wife of Esau, in the land of Canaan, and she had no sons but daughters only. And these are the names of her daughters which she bore to Esau. The name of the elder was Marzith, and the name of the younger Puith. And when Yehudith died, Esau rose up and went to Seir to hunt in the field as usual, and Esau dwelt in the land of Seir for a long time. And in the 6th year Esau took for a wife, in addition to his other wives, Oholibamah, the daughter of Zivon the Hivite, and Esau brought her to the land of Canaan. And Oholibamah conceived and bore unto Esau 3 sons, Yeush, Yalam, and Korach. And in those days in the land of Canaan there was a quarrel between the herdsmen of Esau and the herdsmen of the inhabitants of the land of Canaan, for Esau's cattle and goods were too abundant for him to remain in the land of Canaan in his father's house, and the land of Canaan could not bear him because of his cattle. And when Esau saw that his quarreling increased with the inhabitants of the land of Canaan, he rose up and took his wives and his sons and his daughters, and all belonging to him, and the cattle which he possessed, and all his property that he had acquired in the land of Canaan. And he went away from the inhabitants of the land to the land of Seir, and Esau and all belonging to him dwelt in the land of Seir. But from time to time Esau would go and see his father and mother in the land of Canaan, and Esau intermarried with the Horites, and he gave his daughters to the sons of Seir the Horite. And he gave his elder daughter Marzith to Anah, son of Zivon, his wife's brother, and Puith he gave to Azar, son of Bilhan the Horite. And Esau dwelt on the mountain, he and his children, and they were fruitful and multiplied.